What's up, guys? Stephen Bogrand here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about is how to handle dieting while traveling. Oh hey y'all, how's it going? Yeah, I know, I got the beard going again. I'm just getting lazy. I don't want to shave it. Don't want to have to clean up. That's all it comes down to. Completely irrelevant to our topic, but, you know, what about the topic today? Dieting, wow, traveling. You know, it's definitely something that I think a lot of us struggle with because we don't have the same kind of control over our food. We can't prep everything out. It can be a little bit more difficult to plan out. And honestly, you know, when I go out and I'm traveling, like, ooh, the fuck it bug tends to get me every once in a while, you know what I mean? So it's easy to just fucking go ham. Go hard in that bitch, you know? Especially depending when you're traveling. Like, Vegas has a lot of great food. Man, we love Vegas. So it's one of those things like, how do we manage that? How do we moderate the entire, we're traveling, we're on vacation, we're having fun, we're enjoying our time, but we're still adherent to our goals, right? And so, yeah, maybe it bears to talk about it a little bit today. Fucking duh, right? That's what you just said. What are you going to talk about, Stephen? That thing that you said you were going to talk about. Anyways. Okay. So how do we manage that, right? So first and foremost, setting yourself up to be in a good place. And we talk about this, I talked about this the other day in terms of prep, right? Making sure you're set up to be in a good place to prep. Well, it's the same thing sometimes going to vacations. A lot of times I'll have people come to me and they'll say, Stephen, you know, I want to diet down for my honeymoon and my wedding, or I want to diet down for this vacation, or whatever it might be, right? And I say, okay, well, that's really great. That's a great goal. It's a good idea. I like it. I'm on board. However, I want to think about that trip still, because if we diet down into that trip, we don't necessarily set ourselves up for success. If you're dieting into your honeymoon, you're not going to give a shit about what you're eating on your honeymoon. You're going to be on your goddamn honeymoon, right? So what's going to happen? We diet down, we get our body to a place where it's going to be a better place to store fat, right? And to store excess calories, and we're going to go eat excess calories and drink and have a great time and not worry about the dieting stuff. So we actually set ourselves up to rebound pretty good from that if that's what we're doing. So understanding that, maybe say we diet and we drop our diet, we end the diet a month out, 2 months out. So we give ourselves a little bit more time to reverse and to increase calories, to decrease cardio, so that we have a little bit more wiggle room or, you know, cushion in terms of what we can get away with, you know? So sometimes being ready for that vacation, for that trip, for that travel means ending a diet early or dieting earlier and then reversing into that so that we have a little bit higher, you know, calorie intake that we can maintain from, okay? So sometimes that in and of itself is the first step. Step number one, don't be in fucking eating 900 calories a day when you go on your travel. Step number two is paying attention to protein, right? When we're out traveling, protein is typically the hardest thing to get in. It's also one of the most satiating macronutrients. It just keeps us full. We feel happy, right? So if we're used to eating, say, 200 grams of protein, if we're getting 150 grams of protein, that's not necessarily the worst thing ever, but it's really easy to eat those other calories in carbs or fats, or to overeat those calories in carbs and fats as well. Because I just don't feel as full, right? So making sure that I'm paying first and foremost attention to protein is going to be my number one thing that helps to keep me on point for my food intake, right? Just helps to keep me fuller, and it helps to make sure that I'm still getting my muscle protein synthesis and recovering from training if I'm training while I'm out. So paying number one attention to protein. I'm kidding, that was number two. But after protein, pay attention to calories, right? If we can meet protein and total calories, that's a really good spot to be in. It just helps us to make sure that we're maintaining weight. We come back, everything's the same. Yeah, right? So first and foremost, I want to look at trying to get my protein in. then I want to try and meet my calorie goal. Even if I can be within 10% of that calorie goal, that's still a really good spot to be, right? And then that just makes it so that I'm maintaining my weight. I'm doing the right things, because the thing that everybody worries about is I'm going to go on vacation, I'm going to come back 5-10 pounds heavier. Well, if one, we can set ourselves up to where things are realistic for our calorie intake when we go on that trip, and then two, we can hit our protein goals to help with satiety and make sure that we're feeling full and we're not going crazy. Then we're not overeating on carbs and fats. And then we meet our calories, right? Maybe carb and fat ratios are off from what they normally are when we're home, but we're still hitting our calorie goals as total. That's, for me, still a big win, right? That in and of itself is going to take care of the vast majority of any issues that you're going to have while you're out. How do you do that, though? Doing that and making that are a very different thing, right? You can utilize things like Icon Meals and meal prep services that will ship meals to your hotel room or your Airbnb or wherever you're at, right? That's definitely one option. And that can be super duper helpful in terms of hitting your goals. Yes, absolutely. Maybe you have an Airbnb. Maybe you have a suite. I don't know, whatever the fuck it's called. Obviously, I don't get those, but you have a kitchen available to you in your hotel, right? Or wherever you're staying. Well, then you can shop and you can prep while you're there if you want to. You can do that thing, right? Maybe you're just going out to eat a lot, though, and that's going to make it more difficult. So you have to do a bit of estimating. You have to try and make sure that you can get whatever calorie intake or nutrient information on that stuff. That's when we start making things a little bit more difficult. So sometimes having something simple, like maybe we have a kitchen and we're going to do breakfast at home every day. And then we do dinner out every day, right? It still might be difficult to do dinner out every day while you're out, but if you're doing breakfast that's set and stable, you already know that you can minimize calories there, maximize protein there, and do some things with that to make sure that you're still hitting those overall goals. So sometimes it's just about making a little bit of compromise between what you want to do out on vacation, having a blast, maybe drinking, eating out, whatever it might be, but also still having that compromise and that self-discipline to say, all right, well, if I want to do this later today, I need to try and rein it in earlier today or set myself up for success for that later today. Again, it just comes down to planning that out a little bit more. Sometimes it's even just within that day that can make a really big difference. But that also can make a huge reduction in your calorie overages, right? We're going out to eat for every meal. It's super easy to eat over our calories, especially if you are a smaller female that just doesn't get your calories up that high, and maybe you're maintaining it like 1,600, 1,700 calories a day. That's easy to do in one meal when we go out, right? So that's part of it too. What else can I do? What can I do not fucking considering eating? Well, one of the other big things that you can do is to just stay active. Me, I'm a coach. Yes, I go to the gym, I lift the weights, I do the things and the jiu-jitsu chokes and, all that good stuff. But for the vast majority of my day, you know what I'm doing? I'm sitting on my ass. I'm not doing jack shit. I'm on the computer. So I really have a fairly sedentary lifestyle for the most part. I don't know if you can tell, my ADD kicks in, my ADHD's kicking in when I'm on the fucking videos. I'm doing this, So when I'm out and about and I'm traveling, when we're out at shows, or for the Olympia, or the Arnold, whatever it is, I'm doing a lot of standing and I'm walking around a lot. So like my non-exercise activity is through the goddamn roof in comparison to what it normally is, right? And I'm still training and I'm still on my computer working, but we're walking places, we're doing this, we're doing that. So just my calorie expenditure is way higher. And that in and of itself can be a huge benefit too. If you live or have a sedentary job, you live sedentary, and you're out and you're in Cabo and you're on the beach and you're walking around and you're playing volleyball, you're swimming, you're doing that shit, you're going out hiking, we now have a lot more energy expenditure than we normally have. That, again, gives us a lot more wiggle room and space in terms of those calorie overages that we might be seeing. So, one of the other really easy ways to just stay on point with your weight maintenance and your goals is just be active when you're out and about. Don't sit in the hotel room, don't sit on the sofa. Go out, do stuff, have fun, be active, move your feet, move your legs. I'm not much of a dancer, but maybe you want to go out dancing a lot. I don't know how people dance but that's stuff, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of different options in terms of things that you can do to help maintain your weight while you're out and about traveling, even if you are in fact dieting. So hopefully these help, guys. I know that there's a lot to it. A lot of people have a lot of anxiety about that travel and the dieting stuff. Don't go overboard. Hit your protein, try and hit your calories, stay active. That's gonna put you in a much better spot to come back home weighing about the same that you left. All right, so we'll leave it there, guys. I'll talk to you again soon.